Hey, Transplant Helper community, my name is Jim Merle, and I just want to ask you if you would to please pause what you're doing for just a moment to offer up a very special prayer request today on behalf of a great friend of the program. Her name is Nikki Milligan. Now, if you're already familiar with the name Nikki Milligan, it may go back to exactly a year ago tomorrow, so January 31st, 2019, when I actually sat down in front of the same camera in this same room and asked you at the time to be praying for Nikki's son, Ladson Hardesty, as at that moment he was only 22 months old and struggling for life, waiting to receive the gift of life via a transplant. Now, the good news is Ladson did receive the gift of life. He did get the transplant he needed, and for about the past year has done fairly well considering the situation, really has had a good recovery. Now, one of the things that inspired me most about Ladson's story back then obviously was the fact that he was such a fighter himself, but even more than that, it was the warrior type of attitude that his mother Nikki had in fighting on his behalf. I can't tell you the number of times I saw Nikki go live on Facebook, not only crying her eyes out, bearing herself to all of us, asking and begging us to pray for her son and her whole family situation, but in addition to that, expressing her concerns publicly to the fact that there were times that she didn't feel like the care that her son was getting was exactly right. She questioned pretty much everything that was going on in his care plan, and for pretty good reason. There were certainly some times when things needed to be done differently, when things needed to change. And so I learned about Nikki right then that she had a no give up, fight for your life, warrior type of an attitude, willing to be the mama bear, as we call it in the situation, to make sure that her son Ladson got the best of care. And I learned so much by Nikki's fight right then, by her warrior attitude. She became an inspiration to me that we should all stand up and get the best care possible for us and for our families, in that case, her son Ladson. Now, since that process has gone through, again, Ladson received a gift of life. He's done very well. Nikki has been another tremendous encouragement once again, in that she decided after spending all that time giving care to her son, being locked away in the hospital for so many months, that she was going to give time back to herself. And she has done so much to transform her entire life spiritually, physically, and emotionally, to really gain her life back. And she has made a total turnaround and change in everything that she is, in the way that she looks, the way that she carries herself, her attitude that she has. Nikki, you've just been great. Again, shown that when you fight and don't give up, you can accomplish so much. But that's where the prayer request comes in. It's been a little bit over 3 weeks ago, something like that. I don't remember exactly. But Nikki fell ill. She had what apparently seemed at the time to be kind of a flu virus type thing. Anyway, things kind of took a turn for the worse about a week or so ago. Turns out she had some kind of terrible rash, so she goes to the doctor, ultimately gets put in the hospital. And in the last few days, things have really gotten difficult. She's had some problems breathing, some paralysis, some seizure-like activity. Again, the rash, the fever, things just have not looked well at all. It's kind of become one of those mysterious illnesses that no one could quite understand. And as it got to a point where even at one point it looked very grave, like nobody knew what to do and things were getting worse, they actually went ahead and diagnosed Nikki with something known as Guillain-Barré syndrome. Now, if you're not familiar with that, in a nutshell, it basically is an autoimmune disease that attacks the walls of the nerves, the central nervous system, that causes basically disconnects in the nerves and can result in all the symptoms we named: the paralysis, the seizures, the difficulty breathing, just a lot of problems. It's a terrible syndrome / disease to have to deal with, but that's what Nikki has been dealing with the past few days. Thankfully, the diagnosis is here, and thankfully there is some treatment, and thankfully the prognosis can be very well, but it's just going to be a tough road. So that's why Nikki needs your prayer right now. After going through all that she's been through and the family's been through in helping Ladson to live like he has, now it's time for her. She needs the prayers, she needs the thoughts, she needs the encouragement, she needs everything. So Nikki, I just want to pause for just a moment to say that I, Jim Merle, the transplant helper, I've been inspired by your journey, no doubt in my mind. I've been impressed with the way that you've handled yourself, and right now I've certainly been praying for you over and over again. I can tell you this, it's been about 17 years ago when my wife dealt with some very similar issues. As a matter of fact, one of the diagnoses they offered us back then was the same thing, Guillain-Barré syndrome, and I can remember how afraid we were and how scared we were. But with God on our side, and I know with God on your side as well, my wife pushed through. You're going to push through. This is going to work out, but it's going to take prayer. It's going to take courage. It's going to take that fight that you have within you. So I want to ask the entire Transplant Helper community again to please stop. Pray for this entire family. Pray particularly for Nikki Milligan. on behalf of what she's going through now, and just support her, encourage her, uphold her in any way that you can. Nikki, I know you can do this. So KOKO, that's keep on keeping on. As I tell everyone, I'm telling you especially right now, Nikki, please, girl, stay stronger, my friend.